We're back with Rich Thurman of Ducks Unlimited, and Rich, let's talk about this because this is I don't exactly understand what this means, but the bioenergy of a migrating duck to determine the problem areas between, I believe, Canada and Mexico, and what exactly does that mean, and why is that significant to you guys?
Okay, it's significant to the wetland industry or whatever, the conservation movement, because we need to find out where ducks have a problem, if they have a problem, where it is. And so our waterfowl biologists are studying the waterfowl from where they nest in Canada all the way through to Mexico, and they're looking for where the problem areas might show up. If there is a problem area, what we can work on. Some of those may need a food source on the migrating south. There may not be enough food in an area where they know the birds are going to stop over and migrate and hold over for a while. If that's the case, then they'll emphasize planting food crops in those particular areas where the waterfowl are going to be. It may be a lack of marsh or wetland area that they need to actually stage themselves in or to rest in while they're making their migration. So that may be a portion of it. It may be something in Canada where they're looking at the boreal forest where the birds nest, and then one of their first food sources they hit after their breeding season is the crops planted in Canada. So they get a major energy source that birds need to take in to complete their migration south.
All right.
So they're looking at where those problem areas might be, if there is a problem or not, and trying to focus our efforts in each state and in each area that Ducks Unlimited has to try to prioritize working on those particular needs of the birds.
Okay. So does that involve any of this discussion over the winter wheat and the spring wheat, or is that a separate thing, or is that kind of intertwined as well?
It's a separate topic, kind of combination of it. It's a nesting issue for the birds. Most of our migratory waterfowl obviously nest in Canada and in the northern parts of the United States. There's nesting birds in every state in the United States, but the majority of the birds still migrate north to do their nesting. So what the Ducks Unlimited nationally has found out is that they've done a study with winter wheat and spring wheat and try to find out which of the two crops would benefit waterfowl nesting areas, specifically where the birds are nesting in the Dakotas and in Canada. They were looking at and try to find out which crop was more beneficial to the waterfowl. That particular research has progressed onto the point where they realize that winter wheat is the better of the two crops to plant. So we can encourage more farmers to plant winter wheat. That was more beneficial to the nesting of waterfowl because the wheat was already established, it was taller, and so the birds actually nested in that when they came back to migrate to do their nesting in the North Country. So,
okay.
So it's been a real plus win-win situation for the agricultural up there to try to figure out what's going on. And now that Ducks Unlimited is pushing it's in Canada, trying to help work with the farmers and try to promote that change over to winter wheat if they've been planting spring wheat.
So is that part of the Conservation Reserve Program? Is that part of that then?
That can be part of that. The Conservation Reserve Program is a separate program within the United States.
Okay.
To actually pay farmers to take agricultural land out of production, and in that process they have to plant a grass or a native type of vegetation on that ground while it's out of production. So that program has been very beneficial to wildlife, waterfowl in general, or in particular, but wildlife in general, since the program has been implemented in the United States. So with the changes in agriculture in the last few years, with the incorporation of going back and planting more corn and stuff to do biofuels and stuff like that, a lot of those acreage have come out of CRP and gone into production. So there's a check and balance here. Ducks Unlimited have been working with some of those farmers to do conservation easements on some of their property so that maybe long term we will still have wetlands in those areas, even though the Conservation Reserve Program may be backing out in some places. The Ducks Unlimited is working with some of the local farmers to try to keep wetlands there for now and for the future.
All right. Well, and you guys are heavily supported through community efforts, fundraisers, things like that. And you actually used to oversee the fundraiser here for the Columbia Gorge.
Yes.
And I understand that the Columbia Gorge in this I guess, I don't know if you refer to it as a district, because there's 54, is that right?
54 chapters. That's where the chapters are.
There you go. So 54 chapters. So the one here, as far as efficiency, is number one, right?
Yeah, number one in the state for 5 out of the last 6 years. So
all right.
For the most efficient banquet. And that's due to a major part because of our local businesses that support Ducks Unlimited. I walk into most of the businesses in town now, and I have my little magazine with what they want to support for that year and which item they would like to underwrite for our banquet. And now it's just a matter of, okay, how much money can you spend this year? And with the economy the way it is, of course things were down a little bit last year. But our local constituents, our local folks have been major reason we're the number one banquet in the state of Oregon, because they're supporting Ducks Unlimited.
And you guys raised like $30,000 last year, right?
We set $30,000 back to Ducks Unlimited. So
wow, that's great.
Local banquet.
So for people who are not hunters necessarily, this is of interest to them as well because of the wetlands preservation. So what you guys are doing is not just for the sportsmen, right?
Correct. Yeah. And basically the goal for Ducks Unlimited is to preserve wetlands for now, for the future, and forever, basically. So you have waterfowl forever. That's the goal for Ducks Unlimited. And so from a wetland standpoint, that benefits a lot of different wildlife species. Me being a retired wildlife biologist understands all those other wildlife species besides waterfowl that use wetlands. So it's really, really important that those wetlands stay around and try to minimize the impact as much as we can on the wetlands and try to improve them and better the ones we do have.
Right. And you guys have preserved some really substantial pieces of land, and cumulatively it's larger than like the state of Delaware and
Maryland
combined.
Yes.
So do you know exactly how much distance and how much land that actually is?
I'm not sure the total acreage, but we're talking obviously millions of acres. So with those two states involved. So over the decades that Ducks Unlimited have been involved, we've done a major input or prioritization of where things need to happen, and those wetlands, like scattered all over the United States, are very important to obviously wetlands and waterfowl in general. So.
Yeah. Well, when we come back, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of your personal experiences and what got you involved with Ducks Unlimited, as well as I understand you got a story for us. So we'll touch on that stuff when we come back, you guys. Ducks Unlimited, Rich Thurman is on the show. Be right back.